Hi guys, it's Desiree
And it's the second time that we had to make this video.
and Chelsea.
Has to be.
SeriesBlock.tumblr.com and impractical.tumblr.com, and we will put the links under the video. So I was telling ghost stories, or people were telling ghost stories on Tumblr, and they asked for a video on my ghost stories. So we decided we would try to put something together pretty quick since our last videos have been too long. Okay. So I guess I'll start with the first one.
Yeah.
Our old house was really haunted. The one that we lived in right before this one. We lived in it for 4 years, and it was insanely haunted. You won't believe me. There are skeptics out there. That's okay. I was a skeptic too once upon a time. And so I'll just tell you now. I was in my room and I was unpacking. It was when I first moved in the house, and I was probably like 12. And I was sitting on the floor putting things away in like my cabinet and shit, and there was like a cell phone holder. It was in the shape of like a chair, and it was sitting on my shelf up high, and it was just kind of sitting there. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, that shit flew across the room. And I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not kidding, and I'm not lying. And there was nothing to influence its movement. Okay, so it sounds bizarre and it sounds really wacko, and you won't believe me, but it's true. After she came in the room, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
Yeah, after you came in the room.
So then, I went into her room and we started talking about it after she told me what happened, and we were just being silly and stupid, and we're like, oh.
I'd already put it back.
Yeah. And we were like, oh, well, if there's a ghost in here, do it again or something, move something. And we were sort of like taunting it, ghost or whatever. And so then all of a sudden, it didn't fly across the room again like it did before, but it fell, like it knocked over onto the floor, and we were just like,
Yeah. It was pretty freaky, and I guess, how can you explain that? Like, what would, how much force you'd have to give it to cause this thing to get up and move off of like a shelf? I don't know. Explain it. 'Cause I can. Okay.
What was the next story?
There's like 30. There's like the demon one, the 911.
Okay. I took the demon one and 911 one. You got the ghost hunting one.
Oh, the radio one. There was a radio one.
Oh.
Okay, so I had a really old-fashioned ghetto-ass radio. Okay, let me tell you, I got this shit out of a pawn shop in the ghetto. I'm not kidding. Okay.
It was the ghetto.
It was the ghetto, and it was really old. It had like the turn dial to change stations, and it was not like you heard static in between each station. So I would turn it and be like, music, music. So like I had it on whatever heavy rock station I was listening to. And then after our friends had come over, we were in her room, which was like down the hall, but like you could, I don't know, my house was really big and echoey.
It wasn't even like a hall because the hallway opened up to the whole rest of the house because it was like on an upper level.
Yeah.
So there wasn't rooms in between.
Yeah. So you could really hear everything that was happening like in the room right next to you. Like, I'm not exaggerating. So anyway, I left the radio on when I went to her room with her friends, and I don't know, it was up kind of loud. I don't know. It kind of sounded different, and I don't know, it wasn't my radio station. So we were like, oh, what is that? I went back in my room, and the radio station had changed. I shit you not. It was like, I remember this vividly. It was like, the radio station I listened to was 98.9 or something like that. It was like over on like the right side. And I came back in, and the dial was switched all the way to like the left. It was on an opera channel, and it was on like an old-timey, vintage kind of music.
It's the creepiest sounding stuff you have ever heard. If
Yeah.
you ever listened to that kind of music before, it just sounds creepy.
And I mean, it's like I like it, but it's not like, it's just a bizarre thing to come into your room and hear different stations and stuff like that.
And we could sort of hear it change, like, from in my room, or like...
Yeah. Well,
that was my confused face. That wasn't really confused.
Anyway,
like...
it was just really weird. And there, again, you can't say it was any of us because everybody else was downstairs. Why would my mom do that? So anyway, all of us and our friends were in her room, and like none of us had like left the room until we were like, what is that? So like it's not like they were like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, you know. It was not like any sketchy business. It was just like, oh, what is that? And we went.
And even if they went to the bathroom was right outside of my door.
Yeah.
So it's not they
So-
really prank us like that. Okay. So okay, this is embarrassing, but I slept up to my 13 with my mom in her bedroom. Yeah.
Well, it's because our house was so freaky. Okay, like you don't understand. Like I even slept
pretty
with my
creepy.
mom, and I was like, how old? So it was in the kind of house you just kind of wanted to.
Yeah, so I slept up to age 13 with my mom, and the side of the bed that I slept on, I could see out into the living room, and past living room there's our kitchen, or our like dining room. And you know how when shadows are on the wall, you can tell because they like bend on each wall? They don't just stay there.
Kind of like the
This-
Peter Pan thing when you saw like how it would like lean up against the wall like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 3D, like tangible looking.
So when I would look out, when I would be laying trying to go to sleep, I would look out and there was a shadow, like figure, right next to the corner of like where the two walls met, like this. So like even if it was a shadow, it would have bended on the walls, but it didn't. It was just there, and I was like really freaked out about it, but I sort of tried to write it off as like just a curtain or something, which it wasn't, because then when we moved to this house, I told Desi about it, and I didn't even have to tell her where
Basically,
it
we
was.
all saw the same thing. All of my siblings saw the same thing.
Except me.
Except her, but she was like 3, so.
She was like literally a baby. So anyway, we didn't even have to like describe it. We all saw it in the same spot, and we all saw the same exact like thing, like demon. That's what I call it anyway.
I call it shadow figure, but
I don't know. I got some
it
bad
was
vibes.
creepy. And it was like 8 feet tall.
Okay.
It wasn't like a normal height. It was
Yeah.
like,
It was like bizarrely,
and it's
like,
not like it touched the ceiling because
It's
we
kinda
had
like a-
high ceilings.
It's like a.
And
I could just sketch that shit out and show you guys because that
I know.
shit is messed up. So, go ahead and say the 911 thing that happened.
Oh, okay.
This is probably the
So-
most like bizarre, unexplainable
Yeah.
type.
So we were just having like a regular night. Everyone was just like hanging around the house, and we get a knock on the door late, which usually like the only time of night that would be my mom coming home, but she doesn't knock, so we were like, oh, who is that? So it was sort of sketchy to even go to the door in the first place because we lived across from woods, which like
really.
that's really sketchy.
Yeah.
Like literally like 10 feet from my house is this dense wooded area. So anyways, we open the door and it's a police officer, and he explained that there was someone called 911 from my house. He read back the home number, and we were like, yeah, that's our phone number, but no one called 911. No one would call 911. So he asked us to go around the house and look if we had any phones off the hook. And so we had accounted all of our phones for, except for one. And so we were sort of looking around for it because we couldn't find it. And the creepy part was that unlocked. It was already locked, and you can't lock yourself in there. So
Not without a key, which we didn't have.
yeah.
We
So
never even got a key. Now that I think about
we
it.
looked down in the basement, and there in the middle of this staircase, like there was stairs, and it was on one of the middle stairs, just laying there was our home phone. And that was the phone that called 911. But it's not like anyone could have like done that as a prank to like gone down there with a phone, because you can't lock yourself in like from the inside of the basement.
It was just really weird. I mean, like honestly,
Like no one could have gone down there.
I don't think there is such a thing as phones dialing themselves, especially
Yeah.
a 911 number. I mean, I don't know. You just try to explain that. That was kind of a bizarre, wacko thing. Okay, the last one, I'm trying to wrap this up. The last one was a rather embarrassing moment. was me, Chelsea, and two of our friends had come over, and by this time, we already pretty much knew our house was haunted. So we wanted to put together an investigation, kind of like Ghost Adventures, and we all went downstairs. We like loaded up our, our equipment with new batteries and
walkie-talkies
charge,
and cameras.
yeah, and stuff like that. So we went downstairs and we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna catch some evidence. And it's hard to describe, but it was a 3-car garage mixed with like different unfinished bedrooms, unfinished from like the housemaking.
So it was really big, and there was
yeah, it's like as big as your average person's.
There was
like
4
house.
rooms down there.
Yeah, they were really big. So anyway, we went down there and we'd all kind of split up. I was with my friend Nina out in the main part by the elevator and one of the garage doors, and this was like pretty late. And she was in a separate room and things like that. It was pretty much pitch black in there. I can't believe we did that. Honestly, it was black.
We had some balls.
Yeah, we did.
Definitely.
And so we were recording. Actually, she caught some really good evidence. And I don't know where that picture is, but she took a picture and it was a face. There was a face. I cannot.
In the window. And it wasn't like it was outside of the window. Like
it was mist-like. It was like you could tell it was inside,
it was
not
inside,
like a reflection.
Yeah. But it was just like where the window was.
It was, oh my god, deer in the headlights.
And it wasn't a smudge on the window or anything like that. So before y'all skeptics try to tell me what I caught on my camera.
I don't even know. I wish we could put a link to it or like show it because I don't know. I swear it's on her computer somewhere. But so anyway, that's not even what the point is. We were all in separate rooms doing our own little thing, and I was sitting out there and I was kind of asking questions and getting no response really. All of a sudden, all of our different recorders and whatnot had shut off. And if you watch Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, you know that when ghosts try to manifest themselves, they need more energy. So they tend to take energy from your different devices, usually draining their battery either to low life or none. Known. It's 5:09 a.m. And so all of our things had shut off, and we just like simultaneously had run out in the same room, and we were like, oh my god, my stuff just turned off. I'm like, oh my god, me too.
We had just put batteries in, so it made no sense that it had drained all of that battery. Like, because we weren't even down there that long, like maybe 15 minutes.
Not even. I mean, it was really short. It happened all at the same time. This was not like me kind of going in the other room and being like, hey, Chelsea, my stuff turned off. No, this was like we all simultaneously ran. Like, and we were like, holy shit, this is just it was all at the same time.
Like, and then we heard a thump on the door. Like, there was a back door to the back of the basement garage thing.
Yeah.
And then that's when we all hauled up the stairs. Ooh. It was probably the fastest I've ever ran in my entire life.
I probably didn't even use my feet. I think I just like dragged myself up the railing. I don't think my feet didn't really touch the stairs.
We sort of looked at each other when we heard the thump, and then simultaneously.
It was just that like shit moment that like we all look at each other and we knew. But
we needed to get out of there.
That's really embarrassing. So those are only a few of our stories, really. We lived there for like 5 years, so we have quite a lot of.
These are just some of the main ones, like the scariest ones.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, just hit my ask box, seriousbox.tumblr.com/ask. So bye.